pleasure to be speaking with both of you. I have questions for both of you, and we're going to work it around, but we'll start with Richard. Two-parter for you. First, how are you doing? And second, are you dialing in from an undisclosed location in the Hollywoodland Hills tonight?
Well, that's a very, very good, very, very good questions. Well, thank God I'm feeling great. Hope you're feeling the same. Thanks
Sure.
so much for having us on. And yes, we are coming to you live from a triple secret location very high in the Hollywoodland Hills.
Got it. Now, the next question for the man sitting to your right. Do I call you Bobby, or is that just a podcast thing?
No, Bobby's fine. I go by Bobby, but if you're more comfortable with Robert, that so be it.
No, we'll stick with Bobby for now. So the last time, Bobby, I had the pleasure of speaking with you. The night they came home was the new movie. You were out on the road with Rambling Jack, etc. Did you have any idea that this podcast would be a reality like a year and a half later?
Well, we had floated the idea between us, and the reality of it is really a pleasant surprise because we're hearing from a lot of people that they really like it, and I'm glad they do because we like doing it.
Sure. Now, Richard, is this your first foray into podcasting?
Yes, absolutely. And it came about in a really organic and fun way because someone I would call a kid just because younger than me by a couple decades was a PA on a film I produced about 20 years ago. And he knew that Bobby and I were buddies. And he approached me and said, "Hey, you guys should host a podcast." And well, I'm really glad he did that. Maxwell
Yeah.
Barrett, our friend, and we first did 9 episodes, and we kind of my manager showed it around, and we got a lot of great feedback. And now here we are, YouTubers, Bobby. We're YouTubers.
Yeah, we are. It's official.
And I've appeared on some people's shows, and
Yes.
from when I either as a director from my westerns or from people that are fans of the genre pictures I've acted in and other stuff. So we're excited to kind of have our own show, and we're enjoying it more than we thought.
Yeah, it's a gas.
Yeah.
And I assume it's your first foray into podcasting as well, Bobby.
Well, I had several podcasts along the way, but they all failed miserably until I found this one on my partner, Richard. And that's a joke. This is my first foray into podcasting.
Sure. So if I can shower you with compliments, but what I thought about with your career, it's very interesting. You've got this three-headed monster going on where you have serious roles like The Night They Came Home, you have your musical stuff, and then you also have your pop culture and your kind of stuff that lets you do podcasts like this, yet also Comic-Cons and reunions and all that kind of stuff. I'm curious when you kind of realized with that career arc that you were going to have all of that with this multifaceted career as opposed to what's the next movie going to be?
Yeah, I mean, usually that's it when you're an actor, but I've always played guitar. I've been playing guitar since I was 10. So that's something that has always and remains a real passion of mine. Also had a 20-year foray into driving racing cars. The last few years professionally, I got paid, so that was pretty neat. And yeah, Revenge of the Nerds, for example, who'd have thought that that film would have the kind of legs that it has? I mean, it's amazing to me.
Has arms and legs.
Oh, I see what you did there. And listening to one of your early episodes, Richard, we hear about your history with producing a film that was very similar to Revenge of the Nerds, and you actually meeting Bobby many years before he would really remember, and you being a fan of his work and that kind of a thing. But was the goal all along for you to have this career as a director, producer, and occasional actor?
Yeah, well, I mean, what's interesting is I started out as primarily an actor, even though I made that film, Assault of the Party Nerds, which it is ironic, funny, and divinely providential that I started out my career by completely ripping off his film with a lot of Animal House thrown in there and maybe a little Fast Times at Ridgemont High, things that were my generation's, greatest entertainment, in terms of that stuff, that we become actually really great pals. And so once I kind of made Party Nerds after I'd gotten my first couple of acting gigs. And for the first 10 years of my career, it was really, and also, I'm a musician and a guitar player. And in fact, when I gig now, Bobby plays guitar in my band. We've done speaking of Comic-Cons, we've played the after party at Albuquerque Comic-Con a couple of years.
Oh,
we have a standing invitation to play their after party every year. It's just we can't necessarily do it every year. But Jim Burleson, who's a great friend of both of ours and a big fan who runs that, has been very supportive. But it was all about the directing was kind of a way to facilitate the guitar playing and the acting and me getting to hire my friends to be in the movies. And then it kind of led to me getting other acting gigs. And I used to do well with TV commercials. So I did well with beer commercials and Xerox commercials. And that was kind of like my bread and butter. So it evolved into being more directing. And now now it's more acting, guitar playing, and podcasting. You know, it's a business of opportunity. We have to I've had to do the job that I've been offered most of the time.
Yeah, you know, it's really great when you get an offer, but this whole thing about auditioning on tape,
Yeah.
that is really a tough way to try to get a job, because my theory is that you audition on tape and then some conglomerate of casting people, they have a big screen, like a huge screen with a bunch of little postage size stamp size little images on it, you know, and they hit one and they go, no, hit another, no. And you don't get to go in the room and give them a vibe, you know, which is what I used to look forward to.
Well, question a different area because you brought up music. I could see what looks to be a Gibson acoustic way behind you in the background when you're taping the Party Nerds podcast, a couple of guitars on the wall, and I believe that's the same room. But did one of you or both of you work on the theme song of the show?
Oh, that's the first song. I have an album out called Double Life. Richard Gabai and the Czechs. Back when I was in high school, my band was the Czechs, and in my early films, I did all the songs, and then that was a very lucky accident. I mean, obviously I had to do all the songs because I didn't have any money to buy any other songs.
Right.
I've been able to then, people would hear the songs, and I licensed them to dozens and dozens of other movies and TV shows since. And the opening of our show is my song Double Life, which is the title track from my album Double Life. That is streaming everywhere, Richard Gabai and the Czechs.
Yep.
And when we play out, we play most of those songs from that album and a couple of others. But thanks for noticing.
Yeah. Did you keep the publishing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's usually the mistake that people make, giving up the publishing. But in your case, whether or not the movies are huge hits, every time they're playing somewhere in the world, a couple of bucks in publishing comes your way, correct?
Correct. And the beauty is that, what they say, like the story of Ray Kroc, like he became a millionaire like 15 cents at a time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it to that level, but it's definitely in quantity. And yeah, that's why I was saying it was a happy accident, is because I published my own music, and then I would license, even often just say, if someone would say to me, hey, I've got this scene in a bar and I really love your song, we only got $100 for the license fee. I'm like, oh, the song's already recorded. Just make sure it's on the cue sheet. And it is a happy accident. And what's funny, Bobby, I don't even know if you know this,
Okay.
but I had made Assault of the Party Nerds, and that's when I set up my ASCAP publishing company, which is called Nerd Music. And the guy who wrote or whatever Revenge of the Nerds tried to sue me to change the name of the publishing company, saying he invented the term nerd.
Oh yeah, sure he did.
And he didn't. And my lawyer wrote him back like, no, that doesn't happen. That's something I never told you.
That's a
So
good
yeah,
one.
my publishing company is Nerd Music. And funny thing about that is my movie was called The Last Party, and the distributor changed the name of it to Assault of the Party Nerds because there was a movie, a B movie that was like making a lot of money on video at the time, I think called Assault of the Killer Bimbos. and I was like, okay, I just want this thing to make money so I can make another movie. But yeah, the publishing, music publishing, songwriters, hang on to your publishing if you can.
What were some of the venues that the Czechs played? I assume in the LA scene?
Yeah, well, we played
You played the Viper Room.
yeah, well, yeah, that was the new band. We played the Viper Room.
Yep.
We played the Viper Room, we played Molly Malone's, but in the old days, we had a standing gig every other Saturday night at a club called the Coconut Teaser.
Yeah.
That's set in Crescent Heights.
Yeah.
And in fact, for an entire summer, every other Saturday night, Mighty Joe Young, who is the Stone Temple Pilots, opened for us.
Yeah. Before that, I think there were Swing. Was that their name?
I don't know. They were Mighty Joe Young when we were playing. They were playing with us. It would be Mighty Joe Young, then the Czechs, and then Jamie James and the King Bees. He's a rockabilly star. Great. The King Bees, great rock and roll band. And we played, you know, Madam Wong's Chinatown, Madam Wong's West, FM station. I think we did the Palomino once. We did, you know, and more recently we did the Viper Room together. We've been around. The one thing I haven't done, I've really been blessed.
Mhm.
I have a career that's like maybe a half a notch above complete obscurity. But
Your words, not my words. I think you're doing just fine personally.
right. But I'm just saying that it's, you know, it's true. I mean, there was a time in the 90s where I would go to a bar and people might recognize me because there were so fewer channels and I was in so many movies at the time. But, you know, the punchline is I've done pretty much everything I wanted to do at a certain level, not at a, you know, a huge box office level or a primetime hit TV show level. But the only thing I haven't done yet is go on tour playing rock and roll.
Yeah, we got to get
I
a
wanna-
bus and go
wanna-
on tour.
Van, you know, just a van.
Oh man, a Prevost bus, man.
Well, real talk, putting you on the spot here. You have that Albuquerque Comic-Con. If there's that one, isn't there a tour potentially of Comic-Cons where you're weekend warriors? You go, we play that one on the Friday, that one on the Saturday, then a couple weeks later we do that, and then we put an anchor gig for the Sunday at some brewery.
It would be if we were, it would be, but the problem is that it's expensive. It's like, that's what I'm kind of saying, that I'm so grateful to Jim, who's brought us, you know, to fly us out. And,
Mhm.
you know, like I could theoretically find another drummer, but like our drummer, Tom Walsh, is like a touring pro drummer. And, you know, it's expensive. Now if I find a kid who plays the drums, or if my son who plays keyboard, and he can play the drums, but I can't get him to play everything at the same time. But yeah, it's a great idea. We just would need the right creative booking agent to line it up. So if you know anybody.
Sure. I'll brainstorm on that one. But hey, back to you guys and the podcast. What do I call you guys when it comes to professions? Because there's actors, there's musicians on the line, there's podcasters. Is there a simple way of describing what you two do at this point?
Professional entertainers.
We're living
Entertainers.
and breathing pop culturists.
Sure. I mean, if we talk about some of the people you've had on your show, like Daniel Roebuck, you can just go, yeah, he's an actor, and that's it. As far as I know, he doesn't have 6 jobs.
Well, you know, he's directed a couple of movies now. He actually just has a movie that he just now is doing the festival circuit called The Hail Mary. I think it's a Christian-based football film, but Daniel Roebuck certainly has a robust and phenomenal acting career. I would think actor first. I've just, now that we're friends, I've found out he's directed a couple of movies. But yeah, he's a great actor. He was in a couple of my films. He was in American Black Beauty, and then he was in Insight also. But
And
yeah,
his Jay Leno, I mean, that's a Hall of Fame performance, right?
totally you know what? Every single one of his performances is Hall of Fame. He's just so good, you know?
Yeah. So you mentioned up top, I think you did 9 episodes off the bat. Did I hear that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And then we did another.
Yeah, but we have
another.
we know that the show will definitely be running through March.
Mhm.
And it's picking up steam, and we hope that it picks up enough steam to keep us going.
Is it the kind of thing, sorry to rudely interrupt you right there. Is it
no,
the
no.
kind of thing that you're planning the whole thing, that there's this 18-part plan? Or is it you go, hey, we've got a Sunday, we can knock out a couple of interviews, and there we go?
Well, we actually, we like the feeling. So they are live, but they're not live when we release them in the week.
Right.
We definitely block shoot. We did a bunch of them. A couple of weeks ago, we did a bunch of shows. And yeah, so yes is the yes and yes. I'm not sure exactly what your question was, but
okay, well, where my question was going, sometimes you have people who are launching a podcast and it's in conjunction with a network or some kind of evil genius mastermind manager that goes, okay, phase 1, you do the batch. Phase 2, we're going to do the live shows in front of the paying crowd. Phase 3, we're taking it on tour. Phase 4, it's going to be on networks.
Now, listen, you're our new agent, because I like the idea of going on tour doing gigs at Comic-Cons, and I like this plan. And there is sort of a plan similar to that, not evil geniuses, but we do have a company is running our channel.
Yeah.
So we're making the shows and they're running the channel and cutting the promos. 4 promos a week for each episode, and they're doing a phenomenal job. And the goal would be, as we get bigger, they're the people that would get us a sponsor. And in fact, we are hoping and planning that early 2026, we would be like at Albuquerque Comic-Con, live and in person. We would do a live show. We could also, bank some more in-depth episodes with some of the celebrities that are there, and play the after party. So we sort of do have that plan, but honestly, like whenever I speak to the people that are running the channel, I always like, right, I know this is probably a dumb question. I know this is probably a dumb question because I really don't, they had kind of said that they'd kind of know within 6 months to what level the show is taking off. And the good news is it is building. And I think so, like in January, we'll probably speak to them again and say, well, what's the plan? Are we going live? Are we, and I don't think that they're evil, but I do think that they're geniuses. But I might have a different opinion in 6 months. I might be, you're right, they're just evil geniuses, or they're evil.
Well, Bobby, different topic or question. When did you get on board with podcasts or start listening to podcasts or become aware of podcasts? Do you remember?
Yeah, I probably got aware of them with Joe Rogan. That's a podcast, right?
Yes, that is definitely a podcast.
That's the podcast.
Yeah. And I really liked the way he interviewed people, the way people answered him and stuff. And, I know that Howard Stern is not a podcast, but I like Howard Stern's interviews also. So that's when I kind of became aware of this world, the podcast world.
So it wasn't Mark Maron, it wasn't Adam Carolla. Sounds like it was the last 7-8 years for you.
Yeah, well, it's funny you should mention Adam Carolla because I did something, I can't remember what it was exactly we were trying to do. I think they were trying to build a show, and they had me and Adam Carolla and this other kid whose name escapes me, but he's one of those guys that does drifting in cars. He's like the guy. And we filmed some stuff to try to see if we had something going, and we didn't.
Was this a Top Gear USA pilot or something like that?
It might have been a Top Gear USA. That sounds familiar.
And it's
interesting.
You talk about, go ahead.
The secret car community of the entertainment world, you're not in it until you're invited to be in it. Is the guy from Loverboy in your car circles?
I don't know who that is.
Mike Reno. He's part of this thing I heard about I think they collect Lamborghinis or Porsches, pardon my ignorance. And it's called like the 604 Club. And then Ice-T has his McLaren collecting club. Do you ever hear about these things?
I just peripherally, like I'll get on the internet and I'll go to Instagram, and you'll see some of those products roll by, with these guys talking about their cars. And I always stop and watch because, like I said, I used to race cars. So I'm I love cars.
And he's in love with my car. He's very jealous of my car.
Yes.
Was that a Queen reference right there? Was that what you were doing?
Machine of a dream. No, I have a 2008 Mustang Bullitt with a 5-speed, which is a car guy's car. And every time Bobby gets in the car, he goes, I love this car, man.
I do, man. I love that car.
When you're talking about getting introduced to the world of podcasting, when we first started talking about this, the first general idea was like to go in some studio in Venice, California, and me and Bobby in big easy chairs, like Bill Maher type of thing. And I was totally not interested in that. And that's when I sort of suggested I wanted to do it like the Tonight Show. Like, I don't know how old you are, but like to me, the Tonight Show was Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon.
Sure.
I want to be Johnny Carson behind the desk. Then there's the couch, and Bobby's Ed McMahon. And I really
not Carmack or what was it? What was the turban?
We might get into some skits, but I'm just saying
magnificent.
It's definitely called a podcast now, but we kind of feel like we're a little bit making our own version of the Tonight Show.
Sure. I think there's always a demand for people who love throwback culture. The Gilbert Gottfried podcast's ascent, I think, showed people that a lot of people are into character actors, old school, late night television, etc. And obviously Comic-Cons and all that exemplify all that. So something I asked earlier, Bobby, about how you now have this interesting third act to your career beyond all the success in new movies. What was it that you remember about the first Comic-Con or gathering that you did? Did you feel like it was a one-off?
Yeah, actually I did. And I'd kind of avoided the whole Comic-Con thing because it seemed to me as a performer, as an actor,
Yeah.
to sell your autograph, it just seemed like cheapening yourself. So I went to this one Comic-Con over in Burbank at the I think I don't know what they call that show, but it's the same place every year across the street from Burbank Airport.
Hmm.
And um, I kind of made a lot of money and I was like, huh,
And you made a lot of people happy.
well, yeah, there's that. But yeah, it's like, oh, maybe this is cool. I think I'll do this some more.
I've watched some of the panels which they did with the Nerds cast, and Donald always likes to kind of take those over. But it seems like everyone's still on great terms from that cast all these years later.
I know, 40 years later and we're still hanging out. It's amazing.
There's not a lot of films where the cast is still happy to get together. Are there other films of yours where the people get reunited like that?
Yeah, The Big Red One, which was a war movie that I did with Lee Marvin and Mark Hamill, and it was directed by Sam Fuller. And it kind of tapered off a little bit since Lee's widow died, because she was kind of the torchbearer of getting the cast together from The Big Red One. But we're still in touch with each other. It's just, it's not like en masse anymore. It's one-on-one. But yeah, I mean, I'm still in touch with Mark and Bobby DeChico, one of our guys, Kelly Ward.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What about you, Richard? Are there particular productions of yours, whether you acted or produced or directed, where there's still a group thread going?
Well, I don't know so much of a group thread, but definitely like friendships and relationships. A lot of the guests on our show were people that were in my movies.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking of like autograph shows, I forgot the name of it, but I haven't generally done many. Also partially because I'm, in my own words, one notch above obscurity, half a notch, but also because I've been busy. And so they've called, can you come? And then it ended up I can't, but I've committed to one in April, and it's going to be basically my second movie is this movie called Nightmare Sisters.
Mhm.
That is a cult favorite and has been a million different, video iterations. And myself, the writer, Michelle Bauer, and Brink Stevens, three of the stars and the writer are all going to be at this Comic-Con. But like, not entire cast, but a lot of lasting friendships, which is really, really a treat in life, and then especially in a business that's often just transactional, like the entertainment business.
Sure.
You're kind of best friends when you're working together, and then it kind of dissipates. But if you look at, Nathan Parsons, who starred in my Western, was our guest. And, next week, Claudia Christian was in a couple of my movies. She's our guest, and a lot of Bobby's friends have been on the show. So, not so much whole cast, but definitely some really great lasting friendships and relationships.
Yeah, they've stood the test of time. It's great. Yeah.
Well, my follow-up to that before I ask the last question to both of you, where on your banner behind you, Richard, at that autograph signing, will Party Nerds Popcast be? Will it be at the top, or will that be the third credit on your banner?
Wow. I would put it right in the middle.
Okay. Is
I
that
like
fine
the
with you,
logo.
Bobby?
I really like
sounds
I
good to
really
me.
like the logo.
Yeah.
And my daughter is our tech advisor, and we have a little, Bobby has now, and I'll have whenever I go to make any appearances. Oh, we also, where are those stickers? Yeah. We made these stickers with our faces on it and a QR code. And Bobby now has a little plaque with the QR code. So when he does the shows, they can all scan the QR code and find the podcast. So it's something I'm having a blast doing. I mean, I think the fact that we're actually genuinely buddies, comes across and helps the show.
For sure. It
Yeah.
sounds like a mutual appreciation society where you work
Absolutely.
together on this and your music and different productions you've done. But my last question is, yes, the Party Nerds podcast is the new thing, but what else of yours are we plugging? What gigs are coming up? What movies otherwise are we allowed to know about? Fill me in, please.
Well, it's funny you should ask. We did a film together called Killer Pigs.
3 Killer Pigs. Oh, this is funny talking about getting gigs. Literally, so we've been in 3 movies together in the past year. So as I was getting cast in 3 Killer Pigs first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all your fault.
Yeah. So with a director named Tom Churchill and I'm kind of the deputy sheriff to the sheriff, Brian Austin Green, the from 90210, great guy. I say kid, we're all grown ups, but in this business, we always stay kids.
And hey, he had a record deal as well. So musician, actor Brian Austin Green, that
right.
is.
And they kind of, the director was like, hey, I know you're friends with Bobby. Do you think, he might take a role in this thing? I said, look, we have the same agent. I'll call, And then before that, I'm in a remake of Night of the Living Dead with Vivica Fox. And I'm sure you're familiar with the movie.
Yeah.
Original. I'm the guy, I'm kind of the asshole downstairs with the family, right? I'm Harry, I'm that guy. And they had somebody fall out right before we started shooting. And the director says, oh man, I need a name for this part. I need somebody. I said, well, maybe Bobby. And then so Bobby, they said, we got the same agent, could give him a call. And then with Ben Sollenberger and James Cameron's movie, right? I kind of got into that movie because you were friends with him.
That's right.
Well, actually, the guy who's become a great friend who tapes both of our auditions for the film that he wrote, and his buddy is the director, great guys. And so we're both in this movie that I guess is coming out early next year called Killer Cowboy. So
yeah, and that's we had Ed Begley Jr. in that film, Stephen Tobolowsky. We just call up our friends and say, hey, what are you doing tomorrow?
Yeah. Well, Ed was on our show, right? Ed was,
yeah.
Yes.
What a great guest what a great human being he is. Oh. But yeah, so I think there's 3. I know the things. I know that Bobby is leaving to do a movie in a month that we can't talk about. I'm booked for the second half of December on a movie that's actually shooting in Florida. I can't talk about yet, but thankfully we're both still working,
Yeah.
So no time to do those money-losing gigs in the meantime.
No time.
Well, we're doing the podcast. Well, we're not losing money. We're not losing money on the podcast.
Yeah, we're just not making it yet.
Yeah.
I meant the live performances, the musical end on that. And any gigs coming up, or just wait until all these secret projects are filmed?
No, musically, it's just keeping a band together or having a band ready to play. And I've been at it for so long, and Bobby's been at it for so long, where if you were our booking guy and you said, you need to be here on Thursday, there on Sunday, there on Wednesday, there on Friday, and you're not going to lose any money, you can just go do it. We are there. But just the legwork, I have, kind of a standing offer to go back to a lot of nightclubs in LA, but I don't want to be promoting the show. I just want to show up and play. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I love the Comic-Con idea, and it's something that we've thought about. It would be great if that could sort of become a tour. Your mouth to the Comic-Con gods' ears.
Yes.
Paltrow